Hey guys, Gabe here.
Hey girls, Johnny here. Finally, we'll be talking about a new release,
This feels weird.
Genshin Impact.
A quite big, free exploratory RPG that you can play everywhere and on your phone.
A couple of magical twins are traveling through roads just because, when at one stop some unknown and powerful deity decides they seem too full of themselves jumping between dimensions as they please and this has to end. So the self-proclaimed goddess abducts one and takes the power of the other, who now finds themselves stranded in a foreign world trying to find their sibling and a way back home.
The story development, right at the beginning, feels a bit weird for some reason. You're just throwing an over-the-top convoluted plot with characters you still don't know anything about and therefore still don't care about, then gets to control what should be a super powerful character as soon as they lost their most important superpower. When put like that, it doesn't really sound that bad, but it feels a bit like I got a comic book after missing the first issue.
You quickly get up to date that the twin you chose is now traveling accompanied by Paimon, that I wanna say is some kind of Digimon and maybe emergency food that you befriended off screen, and now follows you around while serving as your spokesperson, even though your character is not as mute as
One very nice aspect of the game's world is the backstory of such a world. You travel across the land of Teyvat, which is protected by 7 gods, one for each element. Yes, all 7 of them. Anemo, which is wind, Pyro, which is fire, Hydro, which is water, Cryo, which is ice, Electro, which is electricity, Geo, which is earth, Dendro, which is nature, and a so far unknown element.
The story is not yet complete, with only the prologue and the first chapter available, and 2 large areas of the world open for exploration so far. Mondstadt, the German-inspired land once watched over by the animal Archon Barbados, and Liyue, the China-inspired land watched over by the Geo-Archon Rex Lapis.
I hadn't seen much about the game besides it's a blatant copy of Breath of the Wild before its launch, and that's exactly what I was expecting. But to my surprise, there's much more to this game. Although it is true that many of its mechanics look ripped straight from the latest Zelda, the most obvious ones being the glider and the climbing mechanics. But while they are practically the main focus in Breath of the Wild, here they are really underused and don't really work that smoothly.
The gliding feels low for covering ground, and when closing your glider you lose all momentum, just falling in a straight line, making it more useful to get from one race area to another and preventing death by falling damage because dashing on the ground always feels like a faster alternative. And the climbing is sluggish and unreliable in odd corners. For me, making a slight detour to climb on foot became more preferable than performing some climbs. It's nice that I have the option, however it's not often needed, but at least you don't slide down when it's raining.
There are some other movements here and there that look slowed down or delayed, like when you're trying to gather some materials along the way. Unless you have some really good internet, most of the time you're gonna have to stop dead on your track to do so. And when that happens, it feels more like what an MMORPG usually does, even though there aren't any players around you. At least whenever you're in a fight, the commands are fast and responsive. Again, if you have a good internet, otherwise it may take a while for the hits to register.
Another thing taken straight out of Breath of the Wild is your stamina bar, which is used for running, gliding, climbing, and dodging that I wish could let you at least run on ground penalty free when outside of battles, as when going from point A to point B to the many quests across the map, it starts to feel like I spend more time waiting for the bar to fill up than actually running.
The stamina bar can be upgraded, although barely noticeable, on statues dedicated to the 7 gods, again, just like in Zelda, along some other acquired bonus items. Most of your upgrades are performed in your regular pause menu like most RPGs. Your health goes up per level, but you get way too little experience from defeated enemies. You're supposed to use specific experience grading items to really boost your character's levels.
You heard that right. Despite having a protagonist, this is a great difference in Genshin. You don't change weapon types, you change characters. Some people use one-handed swords, some use bows, others use magic books, so you set your 4-people party up and switch characters on the go. And as you pile up on equipment, you use them as materials to improve your best weapons even further.
This also brings to what may be the main combat mechanic of this game. Each character uses one of the 7 elements, and they can all react to one another, from obvious things, as a fire arrow burns a wooden shield, to some party coordination, attacking enemies with water before electrifying them. As you acquire new playable characters and try them around, you come up with new battle tactics to get rid of the different enemies you face.
And now you might be wondering, but how do I get all those cool characters? Well, this is where the gacha system comes in. In case you don't know, gacha is a style of game created in Japan that derives from capsule vending machines, in which you have to spend money for a chance to get a specific piece of equipment or a character. Think of it as loot boxes, it's basically the same thing.
It's thanks to this feature the game became free to play. Although you get in-game currency that allows you to buy wishes, which are the loot boxes, if you spend all of them and still don't get the one character you wanted, and chances are you won't, you can spend real-life money to buy fake game money to buy more wishes.
Which in my opinion is kind of a bummer. I prefer to pay $60 for this game and have it to unlock all the content as I played, instead of spending money for a very low percentage chance of getting a cool character. But note that you can unlock some of the characters for free.
While the land of Teyvat has a few small dungeons scattered around, most of your tasks are in fact above ground, running errands for troubled denizens and completing quests for the Adventurers Guild, that even provides daily quests for you to feel obligated to keep completing, just like every free-to-play game seems to be required to have.
In some of these small dungeons is where you can farm Ascension materials, which are materials you use to increase the max level for characters and weapons. But here is where the most annoying mechanic of the game comes into place: the resin. When you go to one of these dungeons, to get the materials you want, besides completing a challenge, you need to spend resin to be able to get the material, 20 resin to be precise. But the problem is, every day you only have 120 resin to spend.
But what if I want more, I hear you ask? Well, you're gonna have to spend money to replenish your resin. And the worst of it all, you can only do this 6 times a day. So even if you pay real life money, you still have a limited amount of resin that you can spend per day. Which for new players might be all fine and dandy, but for players that have already explored everything, they have to log in, spend 10 to 15 minutes spending off the resin, log out, and wait for the next day to be able to do anything significant in the game. This is the most mobile game-like feature Genshin Impact has.
And talking about collecting materials, there's a ton of stuff for you to collect in the map and secrets to find. From all the hundreds of treasure chests scattered across the world, full of weapons and materials, to the Okuli, which you use to upgrade the statues of the Seven.
It is an online game, but you are mostly alone in your adventure. You can be joined by another player to cooperate together, then both of you get your parties limited to the first character slots. So if you plan on playing together, it is wiser to keep your most used characters equipped on the right spots.
The art style is also said to have been copied from Breath of the Wild. It may even be true, but come on, most anime style games do have this style of cel shading. Even if you remove every other Zelda inspired aspect of the game, I still would expect to look like it does. Although those silly churros guys, they are clearly gathering around like a band of wild bokoblins.
Even with a large cast of playable characters, so far you're stuck with their default looks. Hopefully they'll add some customization in the future, with some clothing and armor pieces. But I can already see it becoming a time or money consuming task to nail the best suits.
Genshin is also a lot less silent than Breath of the Wild. Actually, music is constantly playing as you explore the world, and on top of that they are really good, with songs matching the aesthetics of each land.
Genshin Impact is a really good exploration RPG, with satisfying combat mechanics, good music, and a beautiful world for you to explore, that is only going to get bigger as they add more and more lands. The only downside in our opinion, aside from the very few mechanics that should be improved, and hopefully will, is the mobile game features Genshin has. But I guess this is a price we have to pay in order to have a free-to-play game of this magnitude.
Although they could improve the ratings a little bit. I mean, a 0.6% chance to get my D-Look? Come on! Oh, and keep in mind that you can still enjoy it for quite some time even if you don't intend to spend a single penny on this game, as there are some free characters to unlock, and the same story challenges as any other have are available for all. You'll just take a longer time if you decide to max out everything. Seriously, don't do that. And the fact that you can play it on basically any platform means you have no excuse to not give it a try.
That will be all for today. Tell us what you think about Genshin in the comments below, and what we should talk about in the next video. And if you enjoyed this one, remember to like it and subscribe to our channel. And you can also click here to watch the last review we did.
See you next episode.
And don't gamble, kids.